Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. Today on Sue's Healthy Minutes, I have a very special guest. I met Aline a few weeks ago after one of our Getting Started classes at Bread Beckers. She came up to meet me and shared briefly how real bread made from freshly milled flour had stopped her hot flashes. Will this bread help my hot flashes is a question I get asked quite often by many women. So I immediately knew she had to share her story and that all the women listening would be encouraged and probably want to share their bread with other women. But as we communicated more, I learned that she had more stories to share, not just her own. So get ready for an amazing episode today as I welcome my guest, Aline Nicholson. Aline, thank you so much for coming on today. It was such a pleasure to meet you and your sweet daughter in class. And I'm so glad that you made it in because I think you were on the wait list that day. So thank you for joining us. And before we jump into your It's the Bread stories, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your family.
Okay. Hi. So I'm very thankful to be here. And we always talk about the bread with the friends and family and strangers. And to be here on your podcast, talking about this real bread and sharing my story is very, very, very exciting. So about myself, I'm from Brazil, originally from Brazil. And my husband, he's from upstate New York. We met in Brazil. We got married in Brazil. And I moved to Boston, Massachusetts in 2003. So after we got married, we have 4 amazing kids. My oldest is Noah. He's 17. Benjamin is 12. Abraham is 10. And Sarah is 9 years old. We homeschool our kids. And my husband, he works from home. So he's able to help me a lot. He's a great man. And we lived in Boston for about 17 years. Then we moved to North Carolina almost 7 years ago. And we are very happy here in North Carolina. We love the sun and the weather. It's been great.
So you live in North Carolina. You drove down to Woodstock just to see if you could get in class, or you were just coming down to our store in Bread Beckers?
Well, I actually was on your second class at that day. The first class I wasn't with you, was with
Whitney.
Whitney, yes. I drove there with a friend, and we want to learn more about, making the bread. I was first buying the bread, and then when I started to make, so we went to your class, my friends and I. Then I still had some things I want to buy in your store, and I had some more details I want to learn from you, making bread. So I decided to go to your class, and we were camping at Stone Mountain, celebrating my husband's birthday, and I tried to get sooner to your class and was already filled. So I went there with my daughter, and thank God I got in. I was able to learn more.
Yeah, we had a couple of no-shows that day. So I didn't realize you weren't from the Woodstock area. So you're in North Carolina. That is amazing. And Sarah was so precious. She helped us clean up, and she talked with one of my helpers and friends, Sarah, that works for us. And she was so cute. She asked me if I was famous. And I said, no, I don't think so. And she goes, I think you are. So that was so cute. But, okay. So you mentioned in your email to me that you had been gluten-free for a while. How long were you gluten-free? Why did you take that path?
So, has different things. One was I'm going to go back to my childhood to share that a little bit with you.
Yeah.
So since I was young, I was a kid, I always suffered with constipation, like really bad, being 7 days or sometimes a week and a half without going to the bathroom at all.
Yeah.
And it was very hard and always having acid reflux and stomach pain. But being from Brazil, it's everybody in Brazil eats bread. So we eat bread in the morning and the evening. If you want to have coffee, we're going to have breads, and bread is almost in every meal. It's very much part of our culture. And it wasn't really a thing talking about being gluten-free at that point when I was a kid. So I was just eating bread and thinking that's just how my body reacts. And I'm going to continue eating bread. I wasn't even thinking of stopping it. So I went my whole life pretty much struggling that way with a lot of constipation and pain and acid reflux and trying to manage that. Then I had my third child, Abraham. He, when he was about 2.5, 3 years old, we started to notice that he was having a lot of diarrhea, and he looked pale. His under the eyes was like purple.
Yeah, black circles.
Yeah, and very pale, and a lot of stomach pain. And if you go to a birthday party for a friend and you have a cake, he could not even hold to get to the bathroom. It will go right through him if he eats cake or anything with the processed dairy or, breads. And he'll cry with a lot of stomach pain. It was very hard on us. We feel bad. We tried different things that we could figure out. So we took him to the doctor, to the pediatrician, when he was about 3. And they did an x-ray of his belly, his stomach, and they said, he has something called Becker poop. We never heard of that. And the doctor said he just gave him Miralax.
Yeah.
And he said he's going to be on Miralax for the rest of his life. And we thought that was very strange to hear that from a doctor. We didn't like that. And we came home and started to research what Miralax was and how Becker poop, what that was, and questioning this. And so it came to my mind, everybody talking about gluten and all of that. So I said, I'm going to have him to be gluten-free. And I took all the gluten and the dairy away from him. And I would say he got better, Sue, but he was still constipated. He wasn't having the diarrheas anymore and the urging to get to the bathroom and not making to the bathroom. Wasn't getting to that point because we stopped the breads completely and all the cake and everything. But he was still very constipated and still looking very pale, and his belly was still bloated, but it was hard. His belly was very hard.
Yeah.
So we're still concerned about that. And then I found a nurse practitioner in the area. She's a functional medicine. And I decided to take him. So she started to do some tests, gut tests and blood work. And that's when she found out that from the gluten sensitivity test, his numbers were extremely high. And she said, he is for sure celiac, and I'm not going to even test him for celiac disease because he's going to suffer too much. So I guess to test, you have to be eating a lot of gluten bread and cakes, all those stuffs from the store, to get the results. So she didn't even want to put him through that. And she said, take everything that could contain any trace of gluten from his lifestyle. So we started to do that, and then she had some enzymes. And so at that time, we starting to know more the area where we're living here, and we started to look for local farms and buying our food from the local farms. So we found this farm stand called Bountiful Blessings in Monroe, and we started to go there and buy our meat, our produce, and buy milk. Because I heard that the goat milk has a lot of enzymes, and I knew how low in enzymes his gut was.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it will help. And he started to drink the goat milk and never got sick from it and was helping him a lot. So we continue giving him the goat milk and eating clean the way we are trying, buying things from the farm stand. Then I come in place now. And I started to have a lot of hot flashes and night sweats and some other symptoms was bothering me. And I went to this, talked to the same nurse practitioner and asked if she could help me and check my hormones. I felt like something wasn't going well with my hormones, and she checked me and did some of the saliva tests,
Yeah.
And she noticed that my progesterone was very low, my estrogen was extremely high, blah, blah, blah. So she put me on progesterone, and she said the progesterone was going to help with the hot flashes and night sweats. And I don't know, but for me, it didn't help at all.
Yeah.
It didn't make it go away. It helped with the other symptoms I was having, but not with the hot flashing night sweats. And I was taking a bioidentical progesterone.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, just, this might go away at some point in my life. Okay, just gonna live with this. But it was very disturbing, you're talking to a friend and all of a sudden you feel super hot, or, you're sleeping and wake up in the middle of the night and feel super hot. It's not good.
Yeah, 1 minute you're hot and throwing the covers off, and then you get chilled, put them back on, and it's like, this is not fun. This is not the way to live.
Yes.
And it disrupts your sleep and it disrupts your life. Yeah.
Yes, very much. Yes. So anyways, then we are trying to work with the nurse practitioner. Things are not getting great, but a little better, I would say. And so now comes the story, how we were introduced to the bread. So we moved to a new church. We started to go to a Messianic church in the area. And the ladies there, they are lovely, lovely ladies. And I started to know them, and we sit and talk, and they started to talk about fresh meal flour breads. And I was like, what are they talking about?
Where do y'all live? What are you talking about? Yeah.
I know. So I never heard of it. And I cook from scratch, I try to keep a lifestyle for us very clean, change our cleaning products, our shampoos, everything that's more clean, no plastics, eating organic. But I never heard of fresh meal flour bread. And I try to be a little nosy and asking questions and being curious about it. And one of them was sharing with another friend because she was experiencing a lot of migraines. And she said, oh, I heard that fresh meal flour bread really helps with migraine. Has a lot of testimonies on there. And then another lady came, as I asked questions, she sent me one of your podcasts. And that's when I started to know about you. And as I started to listen, more and more I want to dig it in and learn more. And I just loved the whole story of the real breads. And it made so much sense to me, like, how Jesus refers himself as the bread of life.
Yeah.
And
like, how can bread be bad if Jesus refers himself to bread? Yeah.
Exactly. That's what made sense for me immediately. I was thinking, how can bread be such a villain these days, and Jesus being the bread of life?
Yeah. So you found somebody selling bread, right, from freshly milled flour?
Right. So that's what happened. I went to the farm stands. I was telling you that we buy our meat or milk from them. And I said, I'm going to ask if they sell this bread here, because they have a lot of good stuff that they sell at this farm stand. And I assume maybe they do. So sure enough, they did sell. They had the fresh meal flour bread there. And I said, okay, I'm going to try this. So I started to eat, and I did not give to my son immediately, my son Abraham. I was worried, but I started to eat, my husband too, and my other kids, and we went on for about 3 weeks eating the bread, and we started to notice a lot more energy, sleeping better, And my husband and I, we look at each other, is that the bread? And everything was like, is that the bread?
It's got to be the bread. Yeah.
It's got to be. So the lady that makes the bread, I don't remember if she went on a trip or something happened that for a week we didn't have the bread. And we were so excited with the bread. So we didn't have the bread for a week. And then I noticed all the hot flash. At the point, I wasn't really putting together. Okay. I wasn't having the hot flashes. This happened to me so immediately. As the same week I started to eat the bread, the hot flash and night sweat stopped.
Wow. Even all the bioidentical hormones and your clean eating and getting rid of the plastics and all of that didn't stop until you started the bread. That's amazing.
Exactly.
And it was immediate. You're saying it was immediate.
Was immediately. And at that point, I wasn't putting together until when I stopped the bread for that week and I started to having all those sensations again. I was like, wait a minute. I wasn't having hot flashes. Why now I have it again? And then I came up to my husband and said the thing, is that the bread? And thinking, maybe it's the bread that stopped my hot flashes and why I'm having this again. So when she came back, we started to eat the bread again and the hot flash went away again immediately. And then I knew for sure was the bread.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, I need to share this with everybody. I can't believe this.
When you told me your story, I'm like, okay, every woman in America needs to hear her testimony. This is amazing. Now, you went gluten-free as well with your son, or did you do it for your whole family?
Gluten-free, I did more my son and myself.
Yeah.
The rest of the family, I would struggle because they love bread and they didn't want to stop the bread and they were being constipated.
Yeah.
All the time.
And you were still struggling with constipation as well, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. My whole life. Yeah. Until this bread.
Until the bread. So the bread stopped your hot flashes and you saw constipation relief, right?
Yes. I never been so regular in my whole life. So never been this way. It's incredible. And even my husband says he was always regular and he feels like he's even more regular. He's like, I think it's strange when I used to go to the bathroom now. It's different.
Yes, it is. And you went from not being able to eat bread to being able to eat, you said like 4 to 6 servings a day and feeling great. And I love that you said in to the bathroom, in your words, like never before in my life.
Yeah.
But that alone, I don't think people realize constipation, number one, is not just an old person's problem. As you see, you struggled even as a young person and your children struggle. And, but I don't think people realize that it affects other areas of your life, low energy, just headaches, just feeling sluggish and tired, bloated bellies. And with that gone and that eliminated, if you will, that alone is enough to make you feel better.
Yes, for sure. The energy we feel now, it's different. It's different. The energy and the sleeping is way better. That was one of the first things we noticed. Oh, I'm sleeping better. Oh, I wake up with more energy. My husband and I keep talking back and forth to each other and wondering, is this the bread? Is this the bread? Those are the first things we noticed right away. And then, being regular, and for me, the night sweats and my son. And then my son being able to eat the breads. So did I mention that Abraham ended up eating the bread and not having problems at all?
That is amazing. Even with a celiac diagnosis, he was able to eat the bread. And his symptoms, like you were saying, were pale, bloated belly, stomach pain, the dark circles under the eyes, really bad diarrhea. So were you a little scared to give him bread? You were afraid he would have this relapse? Or, I know moms out there struggling with their kids with the same symptoms. And you said you were hesitant at first, that you didn't give it to him right away. But when you saw the health benefits of yourself, you thought, hey, why not? Let's try it.
Yes, exactly. When I started to notice the benefits there was for me, and I knew that I felt strongly to give it to him, and I knew he would be fine. So we started with 1 slice a day. We went slow, and then we started to add more and more. Now he eats as many slices he wants through the day. We don't control, or cakes or muffins, whatever he feels. I make pancakes for them. And he is so happy that he can eat bread because he always loved bread.
I can have bread again. This is
Yes,
amazing.
that was his reaction, telling me, Mom, I can't believe I can eat bread again. I love bread. And they just love the bread. It's delicious. The bread is the best bread we can find out there. It's just
Yes,
this fresh.
that just makes me so happy. You keep mentioning, I'm going back a little bit, that you sleep better. You mentioned that your husband doesn't snore anymore. That could be one reason you sleep better, huh?
Yes.
And he actually eats the bread. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yes. He used to eat the bread from the store. And he used to snore so loud. My kids down in the hallway in their bedroom will come sometimes in the middle of the night and wake him up. And I said, Dad, you were snoring, you're waking me up. And with the bread, he doesn't snore anymore. And he knows, and my husband wants to be, eating what is healthy, what is good for us.
Right.
So now he doesn't even want to touch any kind of bread. If you go to someone's house, a birthday party, or in a restaurant, he would not eat it because he knows he will be snoring. It won't do good to him, and he would not touch it. He won't eat it.
Goodness. Did he struggle with a lot of sinus congestion? Is that why he snored?
Yes. He used to have a lot of, that's a good point you made, actually, because he used to have a lot of sinus congestion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had sinus for a while. Yeah, we've been eating the bread now. It's been about, I think, a year and a half.
Okay, but now you're making it yourself. So you started out buying it from someone, and then you're like, I got to do this for my whole family, right?
Yes. What happened is, so I was very excited with what happened, and I shared with the ladies at this farm stand because they're just lovely people and very godly ladies. I love going there, and I had to share with them what the bread was doing for me and my son especially. And they were so happy. So they told the lady that makes the bread that we're buying from, her name is Kimberly Spellman. She listens to your podcast, and her company is Grain of Truth, and her bread is delicious. And she find out about what the bread was doing for me, and she was so happy, and she wanted to know why this bread was doing this. And she started to research and see what is in the grains and everything. And then she started to make bread for me, mixing with spelts and hard bread wheat, because I think the spelts would have even more of the nutrients. And so I started to make I kept buying her bread. I'm still buying her bread to this day. So I went to your store and I bought everything I needed. I bought the grain, the
mill,
the Arkansas, the meal. I bought all the things I needed for it. And I started to make little by little now more after the last time I was there for your next class. That's when I really started to make pancakes, and I made cakes. I made the dinner rolls, the
muffins.
Yes. And my kids just love it, really like it, really like it. But because we are a family of 6 and we've been eating a lot of bread, I'm still not in the rhythm of being able to make the amount of bread per week from my family. So I'm still buying from Kimberly, her bread, but at some point, I can adjust. It's hard when you had a big family too. You probably remember when you had to cook bread for the whole family. It's a long time in the kitchen.
Yeah, you'll get the rhythm, especially you've got the Anchorshroom now. You can crank out 6 loaves of bread at a time, or you need to go for 6 loaves. So you'll get there, and we'll keep helping you on that journey. So this is so exciting.
Yeah, the Anchorstone is good.
I just love it. I love that your son has found food freedom, is what I call it. And your other children have thrived as well, and they like the bread, and it's helped them, right?
Yes, very much. Even my older son, my 17 years old, he had some acne, and we knew it was from the breads, the store-bought breads, because when he stopped eating the breads, the acne will go away. So now he's eating these breads, his face is totally clean, totally clear. He has no acne. He can enjoy the breads. He used to be constipated all the time, too. He was the one that would sit in the toilet for a long time, like, what's going on? I'm constipated, Mom.
Oh, no. If he hears this podcast, he'll go, Mom, why did you tell that about me?
So his skin is clean. He doesn't have acne. And definitely, I think you always talk about the vitamin E, right? It's so much vitamin E in that.
Yes.
And I think it'll help him a lot.
Absolutely. That was something that was so amazing when we did have a bakery, which we don't anymore, but we wanted to have our bread tested and not just plug our, recipe into a nutritional database, which that's where most nutrient labels come from. They just kind of plug it in. We knew that there would be no database for freshly milled flour. So we milled the flour, made the bread, and shipped it to a laboratory to have it tested. And it was absolutely amazing when it came back that in just one slice, 100% of your daily value of vitamin E is there. Wheat is the richest food source of vitamin E, and no amount of vitamin E is ever put back in enriched flour, which is sad. And America has lost one of the richest food sources there is. So milling your own, yes. And vitamin E is so important for regulating a woman's hormonal system. So it's no shock that it helped with your hot flashes and even your son's acne. I wonder if it was some kind of hormonal thing. We don't think about guys and hormones very much, but yes, definitely does affect them. So I'm telling you, your testimonies are truly amazing and inspiring. And I know it will give others so much hope, from hot flashes, skin irritations, acne, constipation relief, even snoring, and no longer needing to be gluten-free. Hallelujah. And able to eat and enjoy bread again. That is so amazing. I once heard someone that was advocating no wheat, no grains. And he said, going gluten-free and going without wheat is one of the easiest dietary changes you can make. And I'm like, sir, I do not know what planet you live on, but it's not easy at all. And it's not fun. And food should be a pleasant thing. Food should be an enjoyable event and something to be shared. So before we close, Aline, are there any final words you would like to share with everyone listening? Share anything God puts on your heart.
Yes, I do. Would like to encourage everyone that is not on this journey yet. It is beautiful to make this bread. It's delicious and it's so good for you. And going gluten-free, like you said, and dairy-free, thinking that will be the answer. For me and my family, wasn't really the answer, wasn't helping totally. I mean, it helped some, but it didn't really correct what it needed, what it was missing on our guts, on our lifestyle. And changing to these breads, we really saw the difference, especially with my son, with him, like I said, looking pale, and his belly was still bloated and still constipated. So being gluten-free really didn't fix much. That this bread actually gave what was missing on his diet. And for me, obviously, with the hot flashes and the night sweats and it's just incredible. I do need to say that I don't eat all this processed foods, all these things like in boxes or jars. I try not to eat those things.
Right.
Try to eat what really God intends for us to eat. And this bread definitely helped us. And I know you always mention Deuteronomy 24:6, and I love that Bible verse. No one shall take a meal or upper millstone in pledge, for we'll be taking a life in pledge.
Yes.
And that Bible verse is so true, so real. My husband loves that Bible verse. He shares with the people all the time. He actually made my kids memorize this Bible verse in the house. So they always remember that it's important to know and to read the scriptures and hold to it. Everything is there. The Lord gave us all the information, all that we need. And we just follow and trust Him. So I'm very thankful for what you do and all the sharing the stories and all the research and sharing with us and helping us to know and understand about real breads, the breads of life. I'm very thankful for your life, for what you do.
Wow. Well, I love what I do, and I'm very passionate about researching and finding the truth. There's so many lies today about food, but I love when people share their stories with me. It is a real blessing to me. It's an encouragement to me. And Deuteronomy 24 verse 6 is a very powerful verse. And if those of you that may have missed it, it says, "Do not take a man's upper millstone as a pledge, for you would be taking his life." God equates the ability to mill your own grain and make your own bread with your life. And you can look at the health of America and see when we let someone take our grain mills out of our home and go, hallelujah, I don't have to mill my flour anymore. And we succumb to the commercially processed bread and flour. You can see the health decline of America begin. And it was pretty drastic. And now we're one of the sickest nations in the world. And that doesn't have to be. So my motto is, let's make bread great again, and we'll see America get healthy again. So thank you, Aline, so much for sharing your heart, your stories, personal and of your children. It just, that blesses me so much that they and you have all found food freedom. Jesus declared in John 6:35, "I am the real bread of life. He who comes to me shall be satisfied." And you said in your email, I believe that when he says he is the bread of life, he means the spiritual bread and the physical bread, because he used bread in all important times when he would give us a message. And you are so correct. So many times he compared himself to wheat. He compared himself to bread.
Yes.
To everyone listening today, I hope you come to know both this real bread of life, Jesus Christ, as well as the physical bread of life, real bread made from freshly milled flour. Aline, thank you so much again for coming on and sharing your story. To everyone listening, be blessed and satisfied today. Before we close, I want to share an email I received from Aline after we recorded her story. She said she was so nervous and focusing on her accent and pronunciation during the interview that she forgot a few things that she had really wanted to share. Instead of trying to schedule a time to redo the entire interview, I told her I would simply share her email at the end of this episode. And here is what Aline wrote to me. I wish I had told the story about my sister and her family. When they came to visit from Brazil, they had never heard of freshly milled flour or real bread, never even tried a slice. In the past, my sister has acid reflux when she eats commercial bread, and her daughter can't eat bread because she gets very constipated and has digestion issues. After they ate my bread made from freshly milled flour, they had no issues that they typically have. They were so happy with my bread. They went back home to Brazil, and now my sister is trying to buy wheat there to make this bread for her family. In the 1 week of their visit with me, enjoying my bread, they were able to notice how great this bread is. I also wish I had emphasized more on the beauty of making this bread. At first, I was very intimidated, and I have to admit that my husband was the one who encouraged me every step of the way, but still, I was not comfortable to start making bread, even though I had the wheat, the machines, and everything I needed. It took me months to start making it, but once I made the first loaf, I realized how easy it is and how delicious it came out. Even though I'm not much of a baker today, I am able to make very delicious bread that tastes so good and that my family loves. That was the end of Aline's email, but I want to echo what Aline just shared. We get calls and emails daily from those on this journey that feel intimidated with the idea of making bread, especially when their bread is not quite picture-worthy. My encouragement, like Aline's, is don't give up. It is still delicious and nutritious and is always good toasted. Until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Breadbeckers Incorporated located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.